Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Selfmade podcast with Nadeshot and Jackson Dahl, presented to you by Rocket Mortgage, our presenting sponsor. Thank you so much for giving us the funding to support our dreams of 100 Thieves and this wonderful podcast. We have a very special guest. This is going to be an unorthodox episode. I'm actually looking forward to this more than probably anything that we've recorded thus far. We have Eric Muddawg Sanders.
It's going to be a chaotic episode for sure.
You got a sore throat, right? Nah. Jackson, don't talk in my intro.
I'm working on it. We'll be all right.
Okay, well, hey. Well, actually, you know what? Last week we could call you 100 Thieves, Muddawg, and now you are Optic Muddawg, trader. Ooh,
not a trader, just going to the next step.
Yeah, you're a trader.
Yeah, you're right.
You said you're going to be with 100 Thieves for a very long time, then you came into our office like, hey, I'm leaving.
A year's a long time.
No, it's not.
I mean, time's relative, right?
Time's relative. Is that what you meant to say?
What did I say?
Relevant.
I definitely said relative.
I'm an idiot, but you're even dumber for joining Optic. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you guys didn't know, you can watch this video on YouTube, and then you can also watch it or listen to it in podcast format on Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, really anywhere you can find podcasts, hopefully. Eric was obviously the former Call of Duty Pro and a Call of Duty Pro and head of Esports Operations 100 Thieves. He's a member of Oakboyz, and he's
worldwide, 6 months.
Global in 6, baby.
Current general manager of the CWL Los Angeles franchise. Really quickly, I have to do our Rocket Mortgage ad read, so that you guys can understand how great of a partner that they are for Selfmade 100 Thieves. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to Rocket Mortgage, the presenting sponsor of the Selfmade podcast. We've worked with them since the beginning of 100 Thieves. As a partner, they understand that a home is so much more than a house, and nothing is more proof of that than the incredible additions this year to our Rocket Mortgage team house for our LCS team. If you guys haven't seen that tour of the house yet, I promise you guys should go watch it. It's unbelievable, unlike anything in esports. Their dedication to going that extra mile has not only allowed us to elevate 100 Thieves content, but also works to make the home buying process smoother for their clients. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Push button, get mortgage. Thank you so much, Rocket Mortgage. Jackson.
Wait, we got a quick review.
I don't want to do the 5-star review today.
We're not going to do it?
Well, you take it
away. Leave Shan01 in the dust? Okay. Shan01, thank you so much. We read reviews every episode, basically just to gas ourselves up right before we do it. But Alex picks them, we don't. So if they compliment us, or Nadeshot most likely, I can't help it. From Shan01, I love the personalities on this podcast, and honestly, it inspired me to start my own podcast with my friends. Keep up the great work. I can't wait for more episodes to come. Very nice. Very, very cute.
Short and sweet. I love that. So, Jackson, we've had a plethora of guests on Selfmade. And the reason why we thought Eric was relevant to the conversation was, one, I think his trajectory in esports has been traditional and untraditional. Non-traditional? How do you say that?
Non-traditional.
Non-traditional in many ways. And again, one of the things that people ask me all the time is, how do I find and make a career in esports? And I think Eric is like the North Star for how to transition to different roles and to leverage their time spent playing video games and their time in the esports community into a real world career. A lot of great timing, a lot of great opportunities that he took. And I also just wanted to bullshit with him on this podcast, because if you guys didn't know, Jackson, Eric, and I all sit in one row at the 100 Thieves offices, and we've been doing this now for a year, and we talk about the dumbest shit all day.
Yeah, they probably should have just turned on a live feed and recorded that for this podcast. But this is the next best bet now that Eric's gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he is gone. Gone and almost forgotten. This is probably going to be the last time I think of you in any way. As soon as this podcast is over, I'm never speaking to you again.
Matt comes up to me every day for the last 3 days that Eric's been out of the office. He's like a little teary-eyed. He's like, remember Eric? He's lying. He doesn't forget.
This has never happened. I've been celebrating.
Matt texted me saying he missed me.
That did not happen. Okay, Eric. So over the last year, we have won 2 major Call of Duty championships, London, Anaheim. It was an incredible feat that a lot of naysayers did not think we'd be able to accomplish. But at the very root of this team and this journey that we had in the last year, you were helping along with I to build the roster. You came in at the right time, because I was thinking that players were worse or better than they actually were because I was a little outdated in the scene and what we needed to build a team. And you gave us a lot of great direction and have an incredible relationship with all the players. So I think that was a big help in actually recruiting them. What was going through your head and going on in your life when you decided to work in 100 Thieves? Because if I recall, you were contemplating accepting another offer and you were working at Activision. Just give me like the background.
Yeah, I mean, things at Activision got a little weird. My boss left, so there was like a big gap between me and my next role there. So I was actually looking at going to work at YouTube for our good friend Fwiz. And then came to interview with you and Jackson a little bit and really thought that would be a great opportunity to take the next step in esports, as you said. Which, by the way, I think that was the nicest thing you ever said about me. Call me the North Star. So thank you for that. But yeah, it was choosing between YouTube and 100 Thieves, and you somehow convinced me to come there.
Yeah, I think the reason why I bring up the North Star is because a lot of players, when they're done competing, whatever level they were competing at, sort of give up and go back to college or have their degree and then go find a job elsewhere. There's been a few examples of people that I know personally that I respect and the transition that they made from being a player or just a fan or somebody that comes to events to finding a real career that they can, hang their hat on in esports. But it's like you were a professional player on Call of Duty for a little bit. What were those years like?
I mean, those were some of the best years overall. My team wasn't very good, but I teamed with some of my best friends at the time. So it was a lot of fun to just I really value just traveling around on someone else's dime. That's such a cool experience. I got to go to London for the first time, and I think it was 2012 to one of the Gfinity events. So it was a really great experience. But as I was playing, I knew that I wasn't going to do it long term. I wasn't a top tier player by any means. So then that's when I transitioned to going to work at Sledgehammer.
You got to take that bracelet off. I can hear it rattling against the desk. I love you, but you wear man jewelry.
You want me to take it off? I'm not a man.
Wait, you actually want me to help you take this off? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, we skipped a lot there, though. Here, you put this.
Give me my man jewelry.
Your little packet. We skipped a lot there, though, because for me, I know you played Division I lacrosse in college.
Yes.
Did you graduate?
No.
You didn't graduate college?
No.
Idiot.
I dropped out my senior year, which is even dumber.
Hey, at least you're self-aware. I dropped out sophomore year, so I'm not calling him an idiot and being serious, guys. Obviously, D1 lacrosse is a very big deal. And I know you and John talk about it a lot because my partner John and Eric's former boss played D1 at a school too. So you guys were always, we played lacrosse and always talking about that together. But that probably had to set you up for a life and long living love for competition.
Yeah, I mean, it really did. I think the biggest thing that I really like about playing traditional sports at the team level compared to esports is if your team is struggling, you don't have the option to make roster changes. You have to work through things with your teammates. You have to figure out how to get better as a team. And traditionally in esports, a lot of people, when they run into those issues, they're just screw it, let's get someone else, pick someone else up. So I think that gave me a good perspective in that sense. And that's something I try to relay to the players that I'm managing now.
You know what just dawned on me? Because I was thinking about when you were interviewing at YouTube. I know we were at the bungalow and I found out that you were in deeper stages of your interview process with YouTube. And I think Ryan told me that you interviewed really well. Ryan is the head of gaming at YouTube, like Eric said. He's one of my best friends. I'm like, shit, because we definitely need somebody that could handle esports operations. It was a big gap. And you were one of the first 5, 6 employees, I believe, 7, something like that. And for me, I was just, wait, where was I going with that thought? Shit, I just lost it. Wait, this is going to be a me moment. This isn't about you. But the fact that we brought in Eric, you were my first hire in all actuality. Maybe besides Logan.
Great work, and I applaud you for that.
I'm going to take some credit for Logan too. So I think he was your first hire.
Well, you didn't even know Logan. You were just pushing me to try to hire.
You also didn't think we could hire.
You don't get to take any credit for that.
You definitely.
I'm saying
you
Eric
definitely stood up for Eric, and you said this guy is someone I want to bring over.
Yeah, Eric. Well, gee, thanks, Jackson. Eric and Eric and Logan were two people that I identified in the esports community because obviously John has a lot more experience with hiring, so he's done a lot of recruiting for a lot of people that work here. And now that I think back on it, you made me look really good. Because I remember after the first event in Vegas when our team tanked, we barely even made it to the Pro League. We shouldn't even have made it.
I was going to go back to that because we were down 0-2 to a team that hadn't won any maps yet. And I was sitting there. I was on LinkedIn, like searching for new jobs already. I was prepared to come back and get fired.
Well, that would not have happened.
Imagine if we didn't make the pro league.
Oh, it would have been a completely different.
It was so close too.
Wait, but if we would have won every single open event thereafter. But then I don't even know if we would have been able to get pre-sent replays if we weren't in the pro league. So we probably still would have sucked.
Probably would have lost our whole team. There's no way Slasher would have tolerated playing in the open division.
Yeah.
Would have murdered someone.
Funny, man. And we won 2 championships. That talk about like a knife's edge of looking back. Obviously, I think we had a lot of success, but could have gone the other way.
It would have been incredible if we could have just kept this team going into this franchise league that they're doing. But obviously, I feel like I don't want to jump too far into current day because I do want to hear your origin story, but I feel like I know it so well already. Is like there anything you want to give context to? So,
One question I have is you're playing Division I lacrosse, you're going to college, you're doing all this. Obviously, I imagine you've been playing a lot of video games. What in your mind pushed it to I'm actually going to try to form a team or I'm actually going to try to compete and deprioritize or at least balance with those other things in college? Because I think that's a question that probably a lot of kids are dealing with now. They're in high school, they're in college, they're shortly after college, and they have all these like real world ambitions / things they feel like they should do. And then they have this thing they love and they're trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that pushed me away was I was in a 3-2 program. So you'd go to one school for 3 years, get a degree, another school close by for 2 years. And I really wanted to be an engineer at the time. And the school I went to for lacrosse, SUNY Albany, didn't have that.
how's that iPhone 11 working out over there for you, Ted? You're not going to silence your phone? Your nice new phone that I don't have yet? Okay, go ahead, Eric. Sorry. This guy was flinging his phone around like, hey, where's your iPhone? Because mine doesn't get here till
Matt
tomorrow.
does not have his new iPhone yet. He's very
And I ordered that shit at 5 a.m.
Ooh,
I was the first one to get it.
smell like broke.
And they gave me, I contacted Apple. What the is bad?
Let the guest speak.
I don't care. I want to tell the story. I set an alarm for 4:55 a.m. before this phone was ready to be released. I ordered it exactly at 5:01 a.m. and I get a delivery time of like 3 weeks later. Meanwhile, all my other friends already have their iPhones.
Interesting. 3 lenses. iPhone
Tim
11.
Cook, I got problems with you. Eric, sorry to cut you off. 3-2 program.
3-2 program. You're figuring that out.
Yeah, so they ended up canceling that program like a year in, basically. And if you go pro in lacrosse, you do not make good money by any means. It's not like the NFL, NBA. I just mix those 2 leagues. They should do that. That'd be lit.
That would be lit.
LeBron.
Greatest tight end that the world of football would ever
I
see.
fully believe he would be the best tight end ever.
Yeah.
He'd probably be the best anything ever.
Yeah.
He's way better than Lonzo.
It's true.
Anyway.
Right now, yeah, he is.
So they cancel your program and you're like, and I can't go pro in lacrosse. What do I do?
I mean, I could have gone pro, but it wouldn't have been worth it to go pro in lacrosse.
You think you could have won pro in lacrosse?
Yeah.
Actually?
Yeah.
If I look up your college stats, they would have been nice.
No. I played under like the 2 best lacrosse players of all time. So, and I only played 1 year there. So I had like 2 goals or something. But I was nasty.
Okay, whatever you say.
So yeah, I went to Temple University in Philadelphia, and one of my good friends, Croster, who you know, he was playing in like MW3. They had like a money S&D ladder. So he was using my Xbox to play in those tournaments. And I was just sitting behind him, like watching and everything. And then that's how I got involved.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll never forget. I kicked Eric's ass at a Philadelphia. Codzilla. Oh, was that the one in Philadelphia
Yeah.
or New Jersey? Philadelphia, it was a Pro-Am tournament. So it was me and Scump and 2 of these other kids, Methods and BL Fire. And then it was him, Croster, and I don't know.
Clayster and Bobby.
Oh, wait. Yo,
Bob Soup.
Wait. Their team was nasty.
Yeah.
They had 4 pros. It was basically Bobby, who was on LG with like TP and Aches. And they won a bunch of tournaments together. Clayster, Croster
was on your team?
Yeah, for
It
this
was
tournament.
a Pro-Am.
Okay.
Eric was a pro at one point, and then Croster was a pro.
No,
and,
but at this point, I played COD for about 7 days. So I was not a pro.
Oh, you were an
by
A.
any means.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
well,
literally just started playing COD.
regardless, we beat their asses.
Congrats.
Round,
Beat a kid who
get
played COD
smoked.
for 7 days.
Hey,
I beat JCap my first LAN.
Really? Well, I just wanted Clayster. I just want to beat him. So you're...
Wait, so how long were you a pro COD player?
Like a year, basically.
Okay,
It's like
okay.
Call of Duty Ghosts.
And then you make the transition. One of the things that I think it's worth noting for the people is your path has been, I think, obviously all within esports and gaming, but you've had a ton of different roles.
Yeah.
And kind of bounced around. And I think that's very interesting, and that kind of giving people a picture of the different ways they can go. And also, I think people have this mindset, oh, if I'm a player, I'm limiting, or if I go work at a publisher, I'm limiting what I can do. And you've clearly shown that you can bounce all around. How did you go from your year as a pro player into, I think it was just Activision right after that?
No, I went to Sledgehammer, who is one of the development studios. When you're a pro player, they'll often fly you out to like play games early and give feedback. So Sledgehammer did that for Advanced Warfare, and I met some of the people, one of them actually being Guy, who is now Dr. Disrespect. But I developed a really good relationship with him and a guy named Brian Miggles, who worked on the social team there. So I just was able
Migs.
I love Migs. I applied for a QA tester job there, which is minimum wage, like entry level job. But they were able to like put a recommendation in for me. So moved out to San Francisco and started doing that for a year. That was not a fun job at all.
Did you drop out of college to do that, or did you drop out?
I dropped out of college to move into a team house for gaming first.
So you'd already been a couple years out.
Yeah. I was out for about a year.
From what I understand, QA testing is just miserable.
Do you know what you do in QA testing?
Yeah, of course. So I wrote the strategy guide for Black Ops 2 with, I forget which publishing partner, but I did it with T. Martin and Ernest Lee, who worked at Twitch. And T. Martin, obviously, a lot of you guys probably should know. And I was around QA testers. You basically play the game 24/7 in hopes of breaking it.
Dude, the worst thing I ever had to do when they were putting new camos in the game, like in AW, you could go invisible. So we had to put on every single camo on every single gun and then just cloak once to see if the gun would disappear as well. I spent like 2 days just putting camos on gun, going camo, and then doing it again.
So in most people's mind, they're like, oh, you get to play COD all day, but in reality, you're just loading into a game for like 2 seconds and then quitting out.
You have like 30 minutes a day where you test the game and like actually play it. And the rest of it, you're just like, you get a bug report of something, you try to like replicate it, and then you write how you did it.
Got it.
Just go over and over again. Luckily, like since I had that relationship with Doc and some of the other like developers, and they valued my opinion, I was able to give like sort of esports consulting and like a lot of map design feedback. So I used to like mod Halo maps growing up. So I got to do some fun stuff, but QA testing was not fun at all. But I mean, that's something, I get a lot of questions of like, how do I get started in my career in esports? And it's like, you just have to be willing to do whatever opportunities are there for you. Like I was literally living at a loss. Like I was making, I think $12 an hour living in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I found a random room on Craigslist. I lived with like a 45-year-old couple, very nice people, but not the ideal situation. I was paying like $1,700 a month in rent off of $12 an hour.
It's more than I pay now in LA. Oh,
that's actually how I first got into shoes, because I didn't know much about them. And I started researching shoes and buying them and flipping them on eBay. And then like 2 years down the road, when I actually was starting making money, I was like, I'm keeping these things. These are awesome.
So you were like in the full hustle, like the full grind.
That is awesome. What a great origin story. Because it's funny to think about Eric now, like living in a house with the Oakboyz, and you just got a great contract from Optic, making a ton of money. But what people don't see, and which I don't even think about, is you did work at Sledgehammer, and you did work a minimum wage job at Sledgehammer and live with a random 45-year-old couple. Like that shit's dope.
Yeah, I like never went out, saved my money. I literally just gamed a ton because that was the one thing that was fun to do, interact with my friends, and didn't cost money. But yeah, it was definitely like the full-on hustle, as you said.
Was there a part of you sometime, you were there for a year?
Yeah.
Was there a part of you in that year that was like, why the hell did I drop out of college? Oh my gosh, I've made a huge mistake. Or were you even then, despite the work being hard and being on the grind, like this is the dream, this is esports?
I don't think I ever got to the point where I was like, why did I drop out? I was excited to be in the industry, but there were certainly days where I came home and I was like, that was the worst 10 hours of my life.
What did your parents think?
Sounds like a job to me.
My parents didn't really support it at first, especially not my dad. Like one of my favorite stories, I remember, this is just playing Halo before I was playing competitive, but my dad didn't like that I was playing a bunch of video games, and him and my mom went out on like a date night. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to the basement. I'm grinding Halo 2. I'm going to get my 40 in Team Hardcore. All of a sudden I hear the garage door open. So I run upstairs, get on the couch, turn on ESPN, pretending to be a traditional jock watching my sports. Dad's like, what'd you do? He's like, oh, watch the game. Great game, Dad. It's like, oh yeah, what was the score? And I was just like, you got me. He's like, you were playing that Halo thing, weren't you?
Oh man.
Actually, the biggest thing that switched his mind on it was just going to X Games, which like in the COD ecosystem, that was such a insignificant tournament other than the prestige of the X Games medal.
Off.
Wasn't a big prize pool. Like
it wasn't an insignificant tournament, by the way.
That wasn't the best word, but
Matt won this event.
Well,
So
for the record, everybody wanted to win an X Games gold medal. It was It was like everybody wanted. That was probably the most important tournament besides COD Champs that year.
I'd agree with that.
Because everybody wanted to be the first gold medalist in the X Games.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I just wanted a medal.
It's not a great word.
I got 4th.
Well, you guys got 4th at that event?
Yeah, we fried Cap.
You guys lost to EG then, huh? Tough.
No, we lost to Envy, I think.
Well, EG got 3rd, and then TK got 2nd. We got 1st.
I don't know.
So maybe you get 4th, you liar.
Maybe we got 5th.
Your dad went to that, saw it like...
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was just like a traditional sports thing that he was able to associate. So they supported more after that. And then they like encouraged me to go pursue the QA testing job, but it was very much like, let's see what you can do in a year. And if not, like go back to school, figure it out and everything. And then, I was there for a year, and Robert Taylor from Activision, who actually just went back there.
Rob Taylor's my boy. He's back at Activision?
Yeah, he just came from Warcraft back on Call of Duty.
Let's go.
I was there yesterday
Rob
and saw
Taylor
him.
is the man.
And then, he hit me up and said, like, we have this open position. They're hiring, like, basically the first CWL employee because, I mean, I know you guys know this a little bit, but, like, the CWL started off as, like, general Call of Duty marketing people who were just spinning up this thing. One of those being Andrew Drake. So I was the first, like, employee hired just for that. So I went and did a bunch of interviews and everything, and then they brought me on in summer of 2016.
Wasn't Sledgehammer really mad that you left?
I don't know how much we should get into this story because I don't want to put people on the spot, but the Sledgehammer culture is very much like once you work there, that is who you're supposed to be loyal to and do everything. And certain people there were very, very angry that I decided to go leave and take a job. But the people at Activision were pretty mind blown because, again, minimum wage employee, like, why are people this senior even worrying about who I am? And actually, some of them tried to stop it, but luckily the bigwigs at Activision stepped in and said, like, let this kid advance his career.
Yeah, it's not like
that was
you were
a
like the
messy
head
situation.
that seems kind of strange. I guess it shows how good you were even at the QA testing and how valuable you were. But I mean, still.
While I was very good at it, I think it was way more of like a pride thing as opposed to we value Eric
and going to kind of like the father figure in Activision. Yeah.
So you spin up CWL. You work at Activision for how many years?
So there for like 3 years about.
When in your mind did you make the decision like, okay, it's time for me to move on from this?
I mean, they did a lot of like internal reorganization there, and my boss left. So then the gaps, there was basically me, a C-level exec there, and then Bobby being the CEO of Activision Blizzard. So my career growth path was really like ambiguous and sort of lost. And that's when I knew I had to like look at some other jobs.
It's really funny because when me, Jackson, and Eric speak amongst each other, I feel like our IQs go from where they are at to like 40. Like a very low IQ because we just bullshit and talk about nothing. And then to hear Eric explain like his career, I'm like, okay, it makes sense why we hired him and why he's in the position that he is in now, making a bunch of money at Optic. So
I still love it. You thought I was stupid the first like 3 weeks of work.
Well, I still think you're stupid.
I'm very, very sarcastic, and I would look at Matt and just say these dumb ideas and not.
Matt doesn't read sarcasm very well.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about sarcasm, but that shit goes like I can't explain it, but it goes right over my head. I'll take people very literally until like a couple seconds after I realize, oh, he was being sarcastic. No, but the problem with Eric was that like I'd be sitting at my desk when we first hired him, and I'd have my headphones in trying to like crank away on emails or just scroll through Twitter, and then Eric will like try to talk to me every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, Eric would try to talk to me.
I'm a talkative guy.
Yeah, you're a talkative guy. And then I'd like make my music louder, and then I'd see Eric out of the corner of my eye, like still trying to talk to me, and I would
just hit you with this.
Then I'd ignore him, and then he'd tap me on the shoulder. I'm like, bro, leave me alone. No.
And now Eric's gone, and you're alone.
Yeah, I'm crippling loneliness. Well, don't worry. As soon as we get the new facility, and I'm gonna have my own office, I'm not talking to none of y'all in this room. Don't even look at me.
You're gonna come back after like 3 days. You're gonna be like, I miss Eric and Jackson.
I'll be like kicking around, like, what's up, guys?
You're literally just kicking rocks in your office.
Yeah, this isn't about me though. So we talked about it at the beginning, how we set up the questions that we were asking Eric. Listen, if you're at home, this is a great example of how you leverage relationships, you leverage your position in the community. Eric went to events. He became friends with others that worked in the industry. I mean, I don't think that was purposeful or deliberate, but it's just like
I mean, some of that actually was because when I retired from playing, I kept going to events because I knew I wanted to network with people. And like I went to AW Champs in LA, like flew there from Arizona at the time because I wanted to network. And like relationships and networking are some of the most important things you can do in esports.
Yeah, just be a normal person. Ask questions. Be helpful. Be a nice person. And I promise you, you will find your little niche in esports if you apply yourself. And that's like the biggest thing for me. And we've talked about this on the podcast before, but everyone's like, how do I get a job in esports? What can I do for 100? How do I join 100 Thieves? No, be helpful, be there, offer something that we need, and it'll work out. But I feel like you're sort of broke down. I don't want to say broke down barriers. I feel like that's a little dramatic, but you've sort of paved a path, a very clear and visible path for others now, because I think it's much easier with how established esports is, how established gaming is, how the community of people that work at different companies act or socialize at events or on Twitter. You were sort of like the guinea pig, like dropped out of college when it did this thing, and now you have a full-time job at Optic, which I do want to talk about here in a second. But I think you're a great example. How you get a job in esports. Like, great example.
In your mind, when you left being a pro player, did you have like a pie in the sky, like vision of what you wanted to do, or were you just like,
my original vision was that I wanted to go to this development studio and build levels. Like, I loved modding maps.
Got it.
And like, I really wanted to learn the 3D programs and really like figure out how to make something special that could be remembered in a game. Like, some of my greatest gaming memories are like based around certain maps, and like I will never forget those back to Halo, old Call of Duties. And like, I wanted to make that piece of like Call of Duty history that was there for a while.
That's cool.
It's actually really cool.
But I also think that's also a good like indicator of, oftentimes people think they need to have like everything figured out for what they're going to be doing in 20 years. And you really want to do that. And then you did it a little bit and have done a bunch of other things since. And it's a little bit less about like the education you got or the first job you had or any of those things, and more being like adaptable and agile over time and finding new opportunities, which I think is an important distinction.
I just knew I wanted to work in the space. Like, even when I became a player, I told my dad, I was like, I'm going to do this for a year or two. And like, this is going to be a springboard into the industry. Like, you also, being a pro player and an aspiring pro player, you need to be realistic with yourself. Like, especially now with how many people are out there, not everyone's going to make it, as whether you're a streamer, pro player, content creator. And I just realized that I wasn't top tier at any of those things, but I was like, how else can I leverage my talents and my personality and develop myself in the space?
You're always pretty like self-aware about that situation.
Yeah. I mean, I think self-awareness has usually like been one of my biggest strengths. Like, I'm quick to recognize my weaknesses and wanting to work on stuff like that.
So you do a great job at 100 Thieves, here for a year, win 2 championships. You probably definitely could have easily continued to work here. And obviously you're not well-versed in League of Legends, but you can handle operations of players and help internally with the team. We have Jacob now, who actually came over from Immortals and Optic to help us build our CSGO team, which you were going to be helping him with. And you've done a phenomenal job of recruiting players for Fortnite. Obviously, just very good at like the GM position, or just discovering or finding or pointing out talent in esports, right? So what drove you? And I think I know, obviously I know the reasons, but I just want everyone to talk about it or hear it from you. What drove you to leave 100 Thieves and go over to Optic and help them build their esports program?
I mean, I'm obviously from the Call of Duty community, so that is really like something I'm excited about, is staying in Call of Duty and helping develop that league as well. Like, that's a big passion project of mine. And then I think working on the Optic brand is like a really interesting challenge right now. Like, it's the biggest challenge of my career for sure. And you know, I'm not going to be Hector, not going to fill those shoes, but I think we have a chance to write like a new legacy and sort of create the new fan base there and build like a top tier team. So yeah, I think it was a variety of those reasons.
Do you think it would have been smarter with the acquisition that the Immortals group made? What are they called again? Just
IGC, Immortals Gaming Club.
Immortals Gaming Club. In my mind, and maybe I'm crazy, and you don't have to comment on this because you work there now, but the way that this is played out with Hector leaving, Scump leaving, and a bunch of the foundational pieces of Optic just not a part of the brand anymore, they should just rebrand the team. Like, you got your League of Legends franchise spot. They should just come up with a new entity. Like, at this point, with how much community backlash there has been, like, you did a great job of explaining yourself in your introduction video. You were humble. You showed humility. You explain to them, listen, I'm not trying to replace Hector. I know I can't do that, but I'm still here. This is my job, and I'm going to create something that you guys can be excited about. Why not just create a new brand and start fresh so that you don't have a bunch of angry 16, 17, 18-year-olds just roasting your shit on Twitter 24/7.
I mean,
doesn't make any sense.
I'll play a little devil's advocate on this, and this isn't even speaking as an Immortals employee. Like, I haven't really even started working there yet. But last night I read 1,374 YouTube comments on the video. Took a while. And while a lot of people are obviously really angry about the situation, there were like a fair amount of people that were like, you know, I've always bled green. Like, I will continue and like try to give you a chance and support this. So I think like, while there is going to be a lot of backlash and a lot of negative comments about it, if they retain, you know, even a fraction of that fan base, it might be a good starting point. But again, like it is something brand new. It's really disrupting what the old Optic was.
See, I just think it's I truly just think it's short-sighted. I've caught wind of some of the players that might be on your team. I'm obviously not going to talk about that. But I feel like there's so much talent in the Call of Duty community, and a lot of the popular players are being spread out pretty well. And in my mind, like, yes, there could be like a small fraction of people who are saying, I was an Optic fan my entire esports career. I'm going to be an Optic fan no matter what, no matter who's a part of the team, no matter who's representing it from a personality standpoint. You guys could have started a fresh new brand, fresh new team, and through how good your team is going to be.
Yeah, we're going to be nasty.
Build an organic and authentic fan base through that and that alone.
I don't want to stay on this topic forever. I would just push back a little bit, and I'm probably somewhere in between. But I do think it's interesting that one, every team has to rebrand or start a new brand for the most part. And starting with a brand that already exists, even if there's this conversation around it, is an interesting opportunity at the very least. And I think that's probably one of the things they're thinking about. They could be the LA Optic, or they could be the LA random word.
LA Oakboyz.
Yeah, Oakboyz. That would be great. Which I think then you're starting completely from scratch, so that's a challenge. The other thing that I think is interesting and gets into a broader conversation about esports, and particularly the way Activision is doing it, is as we move into this world of franchising and city-based teams and a lot of that kind of thing, one of the things you see in traditional sports all the time is complete turnover over the course of whatever, 5 to 10 years of the players, sometimes the ownership group, sometimes the coaches, everyone. And the Yankees are still the Yankees. The Lakers are still the Lakers. The Clippers are still the Clippers, despite the Clippers looking completely different under Ballmer and now Kawhi and this new team. Obviously, esports is different in that you guys built Optic from the ground up, and I'm not saying that's the same by any means.
Oh, I don't.
But I am curious to see where Optic will be in a year, particularly if you guys win a bunch of championships this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm most curious about, because I know what your team is.
Because as much as Optic's legacy is you and Scump and Hector, it's also dominating in Call of Duty. And I think...
Now we disagree. We were awful. We got third place every tournament.
Well,
Optic
I think Optic is the winningest Call of Duty team ever, right?
I think their legacy was like
Optic was built off. Hey guys, I think I can answer this question. Optic was built off personality and personality alone.
Oh, you copied my answer.
Fair enough.
But actually,
they've also won a lot.
Well, before I joined Optic, they were winning a lot. I take it.
It's almost like there was this little gap in between the.
That's a great point, honestly. No, because it was Rambo, Merc, Scump, Big Timer, Proof on there. They were winning, and JCap. They were winning a lot.
Long story short, I am interested to see. Obviously, Eric has a huge challenge on his hands. Obviously, a ton of people are going to go follow Hector or go follow other players or whatever it ends up being. But I don't think the Optic brand is just going to disappear or die, and I am curious to see how it goes for him. It's a really tough challenge.
Eric, give us a self-made exclusive. Who is on your team? We just want one headline.
I plead the fifth. I can't say it.
Dude, you're so... But I know.
Me.
You told me personally.
Muddawg, starting roster. I'm back.
Muddawg, Eric Sanders. Do we have any sense of how many events there are going to be next year?
Oh, he definitely can't talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
tell me how much money Optic gave you.
No. I want to know how good is your team going to be next year?
Dominant.
On the record. What does dominant mean?
Winning a lot.
I
Very
know the
good.
team, and I'm surprised.
Are you going to be the best team in the league by far?
I think so.
I think we're going to be. I think there's basically like 3 teams that are going to be at that top tier. So we'll definitely be in that top 3. But I think a few of the pieces we have are built to win championships, and they accept nothing less. So I think we're going to do well.
Yeah, I think there's, from what I've heard, there's like 2 teams that I really think could win. and yours is one of them, I think you guys are going to be disgusting, dude. I can't
And
wait.
you know what I always say is that winning solves all or most of your problems in esports.
Yeah.
So, as much as you got 1,000 comments about all the kids, like when you start winning, it's going to be.
Well, winning, and that's what we talk about. That's what we used to talk about with like investors a lot. And that's what we talk about internally a lot. I think winning is like the fastest track to building a fan base in esports, obviously, but not every team is going to win. Like if 100 Thieves, no matter if we had all the problems that we had last year with like Medios and CoD Sun and League of Legends community, some people still talk about it.
Yeah.
If we would have won and beat Team Liquid,
Everything over.
oh my God, it worked. They probably still would have.
It's all revisionist history.
I mean,
so.
even our COD team last year, like it was really interesting to see because obviously like you have a big fan base and you come from the Call of Duty community, but like people forget that we were like basically the villains all year and people really didn't like us at first. Like our team got in a lot of fights, like Kenny and Slasher were outspoken on Twitter a lot and getting into some arguments and stuff, but we won 2 tournaments and then that turned into the Run It Up chance and like the fan base becoming more excited about the team and everything.
Whole story changes.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting because I'm not gonna lie, me being as confident in my personal brand as much as I was, when we were building that roster, we weren't concerned about fandom at all.
Yeah.
I was thinking that we could pick up Slasher, who a lot of people didn't like because he's always like roasting his teammates. Kenny, who
And
was beating Scump all year, and
We built a team of Optic killers.
yeah, we built a team of Optic killers. Basically, Kenny, Slasher, and Octane, who just came from Optic. A lot of people didn't like him, and so off the rip, I thought to myself, "Wait, people love me in Call of Duty. This is going to be easy. Like we just make a couple videos with them, show the personality because they're great guys. Like they're hilarious. They're really fun to be around. I love our Call of Duty. I love those guys, man. And I used to hate Slasher.
Yeah.
Me and him used to hate each other. And
This is a little tangent, but that's why I think like the type of documentary style content where you get to know players is really important in esports because like we always talk like Slasher and Austin are 2 wildly different people.
Yeah.
Like Austin is a really thoughtful guy, great to hang out with, super personable. Slasher's an asshole. And he makes sure his teammates are performing perfect. Otherwise, he's going to let them know.
yeah,
And you see parallels like that in traditional sports. You hear about Kobe, like the greatest competitors are usually not like super fun to hang out with when they're in their competitive mode.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, I was the same way too. And that's why me and Slasher didn't get along. But yeah, our players were not well liked. We weren't winning, and we were the villains. And I never expected any team, again, not to be self-serving. I didn't expect any team that I'd ever be a part of to be the villains because I was always a part of the teams that were like community favorites. So it was very different for me. But as soon as we started winning, I mean, I don't think it made a magnitude of a difference, like a big difference, because people still didn't like our team and still want to see Optic win.
Yeah.
But it, dude, we won 2 championships and we beat Optic's ass every single tournament. We lost 1 match and it was in pool play. And Twitter, for maybe about 24 hours, got to tear into us. Like, if you go back and look at last year, I don't think Optic beat us 1 time at a tournament after that.
No,
Garbage.
Yep.
That was the
Garbage.
That was the series we threw our
Garbage. Oh, bro, my blood pressure just rose. Because I remember all these Optic fans talking shit. Guess what? Sent you home last tournament.
I just remember.
Oh!
I just remember at Champs when we went up like 100-0 on Seaside, and me and you were just sitting there. Bride.
I think the other thing.
MW3, bro.
No, it's. What am I thinking of?
I thought we were talking about last year.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that MW3? Isn't that a Seaside?
That is a map, but Seaside was another map in Black Ops 4.
Oh, yeah. Wait, was it called Seaside?
Yeah.
Was there a Seaside in MW3?
Yeah, there was. It was like the dusky, like orange-ish map.
Oh, I love that. And then you run up the
It
stairs.
was like only played in Europe in Respawn or Search or something.
No, you played at S&D, bro. I used to love that rush where when you're on defense and you push up.
Run up
and-
the stairs to the top apps.
Stairs, and then you just challenge a gunfight with MP7. Blah, blah. Sorry, Optic fans. I turned up on you guys a little bit. I guess I'm still a little salty that we're not in Call of Duty.
So I have another kind of tough question for you, but I am curious how you're thinking about it. Obviously, the community, I think, knows how generally 100 Thieves has perceived and feels about this new Call of Duty League. And obviously very mixed feelings on our end. As you go full steam ahead into this is your main gig. This is the main thing you'll be focused on, at least for the near term at Immortals. How are you thinking about the future of Call of Duty esports, particularly as a game that has to change every year, is totally restructuring in terms of what the league looks like. There will probably be a lot of player shuffling. As you look at maybe not way down the line, but the next 2-3 years of Call of Duty, how are you thinking about it as an esport?
I'm excited about it because I've seen some of this stuff that goes on behind the scenes at Activision, which I won't get into too much. And I'm hoping now with this franchise league, it has a lot more attention from the dev studios and Activision internally. Like there's so much money being put into it now that they're going to have to invest more into it. And not even in terms of invest more money, but invest more time and like thinking like thoughtfully about how to handle things the right way going forward. So I'm bullish that like there are a lot of talented people in that building. And I'm bullish that with the new prioritization on the league that they'll figure some of those things out. I think a lot needs to be done with like the game and like a consistent rank system and ways to get people excited about playing Call of Duty esports, because the best way to get I mean, obviously in esports, like about half of your viewers don't play the game they're watching, but it's a massive starting point to get. So I'm excited about that. I think there's going to be a lot of challenges with the league. We see some of those challenges with Overwatch League, but yeah, I'm bullish overall.
Cool.
Why does Tom Brady open mouth kiss his kids?
How many podcasts have you brought this up on this year? 3? 4?
I kind of want like the last 15 minutes or 10 minutes of this podcast for us to talk about whatever we want to talk about. I feel like we've got the backstory on Eric.
Is there like a video on that? I've heard the meme, but I've never I've never gone out of my way.
Matt's watched it many times.
I've never gone out of my way to check it out. It just doesn't sound.
Matt loves that.
No,
video.
we don't have to pull it up. I'll show you after. Everyone's seen the video.
It's a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, it sounds
best.
Sounds very.
But Tom Brady's the GOAT, man. And we share the same birthday.
There you go.
Man, I hope.
Are you going to kiss your kids one day?
So I don't know if I'll ever have kids, but I'm thinking like I'll kiss them on the cheek. Maybe like I'll kiss them up till they're like 3 years old. And then after that, it's done.
On the lips or on the cheek?
No, I'll kiss them on the lips. See, I just find that weird. Now even thinking about it, like even when I was a kid and my grandma was like, hey, give me a kiss before you leave. And I'm like 10 years old. I always thought that was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I agree.
And really weird.
Yeah, it definitely
I kissed
is.
her on the cheek, but yeah, the lips thing is weird.
Like I'm not kissing my kids. Like, you know what? I just made out with your mom last night right after she did some things. I ain't kissing you.
All right.
And right after I did some things. You know what I'm saying?
Self-made.
I got a question for you. Me and Enable were talking about this last night. If you did have kids, let's say you have 3 kids, because Enable said he's going to have redheaded triplets. What would you name your 3 kids?
Bob, Philip, and Craig.
They're all men.
No, I'm just
They're all
kidding.
boys.
Yeah, I think names are hard. If I had a list, I would look at them. I think people are trying to get too fancy with names nowadays. Like they want their little sunflower to have such a
Khaleesi.
unique name.
Yeah, Ian said he's naming his kids French Montana Wyatt, Meek Mill Wyatt, and something else. So
Sounds like Ian's got it all figured out.
I'm naming my first kid Muddawg, my second one Nadeshot, my third one Jackson Doll.
Let's go.
I thought you were naming one John Robinson.
That'll be the middle name. I'm actually trying to convince John to name his kid, whether it's a guy or a girl, Muddawg, but it's not working out so well.
I don't.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah, it seems a little unlikely, but hey, shoot your shot.
Never know if you never try.
Wait, sorry. Before we go too deep into this hole, can you explain the Oakboyz for the people? Because I feel like there's probably a lot of people out there that like they're on the peripheral of it. Like, what is the Oakboyz? What is its purpose?
Why?
And why is it going to be global in 6 months?
I mean, the Oakboyz wasn't created with a purpose. Like, I was living in LA by myself. I didn't like hang out with Matt at the time, didn't know you at the time, and I was bored as hell. So I called up 3 of my best friends who were still pro players at the time and said, yo, move out to LA. You guys make good money. You can work from home. So at the time we created the house, it was me working at Activision. Enable was on EG at the time. Cap was on God knows where. Bryce was playing for some other random team. And we were just a house of people who, mutual friends, like had a lot of fun living in LA. Like we didn't plan for this to be a thing. And then I don't know how Oakboyz gained traction. I think it was like mainly from Ian just like yelling it randomly and like
Most things gain traction from Ian yelling them randomly.
yeah, it's pretty impressive how trendy Ian is.
Ian also created Run It Up, correct?
I forgot
Yes.
about my Red Bull in the freezer. I'll be right back. Keep going.
And then I think it really sort of like became a thing when Ian and I both joined 100 Thieves, because that sort of like created like the 100 Thieves community, like being fans of us in a sense. And like people, like I've gone to events now and people are like, oh my God, can I get a picture with all the Oakboyz? And like, it's mind blowing to me because we still have not actually done anything. Like We made a logo, but we literally just yell like shout.
Yeah, where's the logo? I've been waiting on the logo.
Wait, for what it's worth, I actually think Oakboyz is a great brand name, and it could be something really cool.
Yeah, we bought a vlog camera about 6 months ago, and we filmed a lot, but we just haven't given it to an editor yet because we don't know what we're doing.
Currently, 2 of the 4 Oakboyz are still pro Call of Duty players.
Yeah.
I can imagine a world where, like, somewhere down the line, after all of you guys have retired, there might be an opportunity for Oakboyz and 100 Thieves. All I'm saying.
No, we were hoping Ian would have retired because we had some video series planned for him. We wanted him to be a full-time content creator for 100 Thieves.
He would make so much more money being a full-time content creator.
I mean, it would take some time.
He's going to be doing okay.
It would be an
He
investment.
did get the Supermax.
Down the line.
Man, I can't believe some of the salaries these players are getting. It's nuts. I'm so happy for some people. But the Oakboyz, I actually love the name, and it gained traction because it's 4 guys who people love to be around, and they loved it. And that's how good ideas start, and that's how brands start, or like, in my mind. You have to get other people excited about it, and when you're genuinely excited about it, and you talk about it, and you love it, and you live it, that's when other people start following because they want to be a part of your world too.
I mean, not to make a direct comparison, but like our house very much gives me vibes of like your old Optic house. You guys just like love being together and like love doing a bunch of stuff together.
Yeah, now imagine if you guys made videos. Lazy sacks of shit.
I mean, I have like the 3 laziest roommates in the world. Actually, Bryce is better. Bryce started his own talent agency with another Activision employee. He's been working a lot, but yeah, Cap and Ian are 2 of the laziest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
Long story short, though,
But I work a real job.
You got to want it.
if you're a 100 Thieves fan, the Oakboyz aren't going anywhere. We're still going to be hanging out with them. They're still in LA. I think they deserve your support.
For sure. Now, Eric, do you regret leaving Optic, or do you regret leaving 100 Thieves at all right as we're about to open like this dope-ass facility?
Wow, it's putting me on the spot. It's a bummer that I'm not going to be in the facility and everything. And there's like a lot of stuff I'm going to miss about 100 Thieves, like mainly the people and everything there.
Oh, come on. Don't give us a sentimental answer. Give us
It's not a sentimental answer.
Are
I'm
you
just
going to
saying
miss
that.
the facility?
Well,
You can't come
I've
to
never
our party.
I've never been like the facility's not done. I've only been in an empty warehouse,
You can come
so
to our party.
there's not much I can miss about
You're going
it.
to come to our opening party, right?
Sure.
You got to come to
with
the
the
Christmas
Oakboyz.
party too.
One of my favorite
I actually
things.
talked to John when I left, and I was like, listen, like I need the Oakboyz at every company party still. Like one of my favorite things is that the Oakboyz have actually been to more 100T company parties than about everyone but like 7 people there.
Yeah, most employees.
Oakboyz have been there. Like they were at a Christmas party last year. I will say,
Christmas. I just got so excited.
Yeah, Christmas is close, dude.
Matt just spikes the Red Bull. Let's go! Christmas!
I non-deliberately created a rift in the Oakboyz, though. Did you hear about this? So when we send out our apparel,
yeah, I'm pissed
we send
about
out
this.
apparel like ahead of our sales to our like friends and certain people in the industry and some influencers and stuff. And on our list, we have an industry list and an influencer list. And I put, obviously, Eric used to be on the 100 Thieves internal list. Bryce used to be on the influencer list because he was a player or a coach. I added Bryce and Eric to the industry list, and Cap and Ian are on the influencer list. And the influencer one went first. So apparently Ian was running around their house calling himself an influencer.
Yeah, Cap and Ian are so annoying. One, the box we got, this happened like Saturday. We just get a box that says Oakboyz. And like a week ago, we got a random package. We opened it up, and it was a glitter bomb of penis-shaped glitter all over our kitchen. I don't know who got our address or did that, but shout out to you. That was hilarious. Don't do it again. So yeah, right away, me and Cap were like, shit, this is probably another penis glitter bomb. So we take it outside in the backyard. We like carefully open it and everything. It's
like
just-
a bomb squad.
Yeah.
Full-
we had the knife out. We were like staying away from it. And yeah, it was just apparel. So I text Jackson. I'm like, there are like 6 pieces of apparel here. Who are these for? He just goes, Cap and Ian. They're influencers. And I was livid.
We haven't sent out industry yet.
I started blowing up Jackson. I was blowing up Ibrahim. It was like I felt so
Probably should have shipped
disrespected.
it all at once, but I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Tough scenes.
I feel like we should have not sent Eric anything on purpose.
I'm not going to stoop that low.
Deliberately, because now he's posting all of his Optic champion pictures.
I just like pictures of myself. I'm narcissistic.
You're a pretty guy. You're a pretty guy.
Thanks, man.
You're
Eric's
looking for your
also
wife.
6'6", if you were wondering.
Yeah, Eric, stand up real quick. Stand your tall ass up.
Oh, you said I could wear shorts because I wouldn't be on camera.
Yeah, we can cut it, or we can not cut it. Nobody wears pants under the desk. Just kidding.
Beside both of you.
I'm trying to figure out what I ate yesterday. So I'm releasing gas and it's a little stinky.
We're just nosediving.
Yeah.
Eric,
Let's go back to talk about me being pretty. I like that topic.
yeah, that
Also, if anyone wants to date me, I'm open.
you are single
Oh,
and 6'6", GM of Optic LA,
Eric got the Supermax.
the winningest COD team of 2020.
best North American Fortnite team.
Eric, what is your favorite feature of a woman's body? What do you look for the most? Do you look for personality? You look for eyes? You look for hair? You look for teeth? You look for bosoms? You look for butt? You look for
What was
feet,
your favorite feature of
kneecaps?
Cease and Elevate when you recruited them?
No,
We're not doing this.
we don't have any.
These are two wildly
You're not the
different
host
answers.
of the podcast. You're a co-host.
I am a co-host doing my duty
This
as
is
an
not
employee
your,
of
you
your
don't
company.
know what the people like. These are the things that people want to hear.
I'll give
about.
you a respectful answer. I like short girls. I like girls to be around like 5'4", 5'5", maybe lower. Like I get a lot.
Blonde.
Yes, and blonde.
Wait, so real quick, before we wrap up, Eric, first off, where can people find you?
I hate when we do this shit. No.
I am trying to give our guests a platform.
His name is Muddawg. Look in the description below. You guys will see his links. That question sucks.
Muddawg on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere.
Instagram, Twitter. Don't worry about YouTube because I don't do anything there. Yeah. Just follow me on Instagram.
First off, go
Instagram
follow him
followers.
on Instagram. Number 2, do you have anything you want to say? 1, to the 100 Thieves fans you're leaving behind, and 2, to the Optic fans, whoever they are, that you're going towards.
This is like, we're bouncing all over the place. To the 100 Thieves fans, just again, like, thank you for everything. The last year was absolutely incredible. It was such a cool fan base to be around of. Like, the run-it-up chants were so special to us because that was something that, like, we created. I mean, to the Optic fans, one, I've learned very quickly from that video, I should never address them as the Green Wall anymore.
Greenwall's out.
Yeah.
Greenwall goes with them.
I learned that. Greenwall's going with Hector. My mistake there. Learned that through 1,374 YouTube comments coming at me. But yeah, it's going to be a new era. Like, I think the best way for us to start is to build a championship team. I know content's important. Like, we're going to figure something out there, but it's not going to be the same Optic it was. But I think we can build it into something new and something special. Matt, what?
Nothing. Good job,
So
Eric.
annoying.
Jackson, take us out.
Are you done?
Yeah, we'll call it there.
All right.
I'm so sorry. Actually, do you want to finish? I apologize. I do not mean to interrupt. This actually is very important.
No, I mean,
Very immature. I just got into this mode like,
I think I said a lot of it in like the video there. I don't think there's a ton more else to say. And at this point, like, we have to earn the fans back / new fans through results and through doing things correctly. Like, I don't think it's worth saying much more here.
Cool. Well,
y'all hear that, Optic fans? You ain't worth it.
Please don't hate me.
Nadeshot is an idiot. Second off, thank you, Muddawg. Eric Sanders, you are a great friend of mine. It has been a pleasure working with you over the last year. I think I can say for both Matt and I, we are so excited to see what you're going to do next year at Optic and at Immortals. I'm going to be rooting for your team as well as a couple other teams for obvious. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to be rooting.
Jesus Christ. Jackson, you might be the idiot now.
Jackson leaking CDL.
I'm not leaking anything.
I'm not going to give Eric the sentimental send off because Eric knows deep down how much we love him, how close of a friend I consider him. And it's not like he's left our world. He's just going
He'll be
on
around.
a new opportunity.
I still live a mile away and I didn't die.
Yeah, we're going to be partying 24/7. And we joined a basketball rec league, which is dope. Maybe we'll
live stream it.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Rocket Mortgage, thank you so much for sponsoring this podcast.
Rate us 5 stars. Comment below. Give us feedback. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.